Distinguished future physicians, welcome to Stop on Step 1, the only free video series that helps you study more efficiently by focusing on the highest yield material. In this video, I'm going to be covering 2 by 2 tables and the related topics of false positive, false negative, true positive, and true negative. This is going to lay the foundation for later videos on sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value, and negative predictive value. This is the second video in my section of biostats videos, so I suggest you check out the rest of these when you're done with this video.
Most laboratory tests have a numerical value, sort of on a continuum from 0 to 100,000 or something like that. But most of the time you're going to be converting that into a categorical system rather than a numerical one. You could get something like high, normal, or low. But what we're going to be talking about today is screening tests. And in those situations, what you're more likely to see is just a binary system, just two things, either positive or negative. For example, like a urine HCG pregnancy test has values that range from like 0 to 30, but that's usually just split up into either positive or negative. The way we convert these numerical numbers into categorical systems like positive and negative is through the use of a cutoff point. We set some sort of value, and everything above that value would be positive and everything below that value will be negative. And where you set that cutoff point sort of changes everything. If you change the cutoff point for a test, you have to redo all your calculations for like specificity and positive predictive value, because what is a true positive and a false negative, etc., changes based on where that cutoff point is. It's easy to get lazy and make a dumb mistake, especially at the end of an 8-hour exam. So just to clarify here, positive things are usually good in every other setting, but in this case, most of the time, a positive test means you have the disease, so that's bad. A true result is a result of a test that either matches the gold standard test or the clinical diagnosis. Say you're doing an HIV test, a true result would be a positive result in somebody you know to have HIV based on their clinical presentation. Or say you're evaluating a brand new HIV test, you would compare the results of that new test to current gold standard tests that everybody uses. Good tests have way more true values than false ones. True positive test results, you can see here in the top right corner, I give it a high yield rating of 10. Those of you who don't know what that is, it's a rating scale 1 to 10, trying to give you a rough estimate of how important it is for step 1. If you want to learn more about that, you can visit my website. But basically, true positive is just what it sounds like. It's a positive test result that is also true. So a diseased person who is correctly identified as having the disease by whatever test you're looking at. Similarly, a false positive would just be a healthy person that is incorrectly identified as having the disease by the test. True negative would be a healthy person who is correctly identified as being healthy by the test. And a false negative would be a diseased person who is incorrectly identified as being healthy by the test. Just to sort of review what we already covered from a different point of view, all the people with disease would be the true positive plus the false negatives. All the people who are healthy or without the disease that you're looking at would be true negative plus false positive. All those that tested positive would be true positives plus false positives, and all those that tested negative would be true negative and false negative. You can use some of these relationships here to calculate some things, even if they don't give it to you in the question stem. Say they told you how many total people had the disease and they give you the true positives, but they don't give you false negatives. You could just calculate false negatives on your own. You don't necessarily have to memorize this slide. If you understand what's going on, you should be able to figure this out in your head on the fly. Most of the questions have a 2 by 2 table on them. A good chunk of the time on step 1, they'll give you the actual 2 by 2 table filled out. Occasionally, they'll give you all the info you need for a 2 by 2 table, but you have to sort of construct it yourself. Here's a blank 2 by 2 table, and you can see you usually have disease presence or absence at the top here, and then the test results sort of on the side there. Occasionally, you'll see 2 by 2 tables with like a risk factor on the side, but that's a little different. That's not really what we're talking about here. You may have been taught to label these different boxes A, B, C, D. A lot of teachers and textbooks or review books still use this system, but I'm going to recommend you not use that system for a couple of reasons. First off, those letters don't really have any meaning, so it's more likely that you'll make a dumb mistake. And that system doesn't really work if you swap 2 columns or 2 rows, because there's no rule that says the top left box has to be true positives. So if you only know this lettering system and they flip around one of the rows or something, which I have seen them do, you're going to get the wrong answers. Here's the preferred method that I'm going to show you, is just label it what they are. The box at the intersection of the positives and the positives would be true positives, negative negative, true negative, and so on. Sometimes you'll see a 3x3 table where there's an extra set of rows and columns. Don't let that throw you off. They're just trying to help you out and save you a step by giving you some of the totals. That brings us to the end of this video. If you liked it and you want me to make more, please like my videos on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I won't bore you with the details about search engine optimization or social proof, but just know that even though it only takes you a couple seconds to do those things, it really helps me out a lot.